Sarah was 8 months pregnant when she finally told the truth. Tom, I can't lie anymore. This baby, it's not yours. Tom's world collapsed. But when she revealed the father's identity, it got worse. It's Mark's, his best friend of 15 years, the man who threw him a baby shower, the man who promised to be the godfather, the man who had been betraying him for 18 months. Tom Williams was making coffee in the kitchen on Saturday morning when he heard his wife Sarah's voice. Tom, I need to talk to you. Tom smiled. Sarah's voice sounded strange, but maybe it was the fatigue of being 8 months pregnant. Coming, honey? How's the baby? Did he kick a lot last night? Sarah was sitting in the living room, hands folded over her belly. There was an expression on her face that Tom had never seen before, a mixture of guilt and fear. Sit down, Tom. I have something very important to tell you. Tom became worried. Is there a problem with the baby? Do we need to go to the doctor? No, Tom. The baby is healthy, but Sarah took a deep breath. I have to confess something to you. Tom sat next to his wife, placing his hand on Sarah's. Whatever it is, we'll handle it together. Sarah pushed Tom's hand away. No, Tom, we can't handle this. I've been with someone else. Tom froze. What did you say? Tom, I can't lie anymore. This baby, it's not yours. Tom's heart stopped. Then it started beating wildly. Is this a joke? I wish it were. Tom, I've been with someone else for 18 months, and this baby is his. Tom jumped up. Whose? Sarah started crying. Mark's. Tom staggered backward as if punched. Mark? Which Mark? You know who I'm talking about. Mark Davis? My best friend Mark? Sarah bowed her head. Yes. Tom leaned against the wall. He couldn't breathe. Mark Davis. His best friend for 15 years. The man who had been like a brother since college. The man who was his best man at their wedding, his business partner. The man who came to their house every week, watched football together, went on vacation together. This is impossible. Mark is like my brother. Tom, I'm so sorry. 18 months, did you say? You've been cheating on me for 18 months? Tom, please calm down. Tom started pacing up and down the living room. What happened 18 months ago? When did this start? Sarah was crying. You were working on that big project in Houston. You weren't home for weeks. I was very lonely. And you went to Mark? He came. I was very stressed. You weren't there. Mark was trying to support me as a friend. As a friend? Tom shouted. You cheated with my wife. Tom, it wasn't like that at first. We were just talking, but then you got into bed? Sarah cried harder. Yes. Tom collapsed into the chair. He put his head in his hands. Mark came here last week. He was excited about the baby's birth. He said he wanted to be the godfather. Tom, he's the real father of the baby he thought was mine. Tom stood up. This child's father. Sarah was silent. Does Mark know this? Yes, he knows. Tom's head was spinning. How long has he known? For 3 months. 3 months! Tom punched the wall. You've both known for 3 months and didn't tell me. Tom, I was so scared. What did Mark say? What did he say when he found out? Sarah hesitated. He was very surprised, but he was also happy. He was happy? Tom's voice cracked. Was he happy that he cheated on me? No, Tom. He was happy that he was going to be a father. Tom couldn't look at Sarah anymore. Did you make a choice between us? What do you mean? Do you love Mark or do you love me? Sarah remained silent for a long time. This silence was the answer for Tom. You love him. Tom, I love you too, but you love Mark more? Sarah nodded tearfully. Yes. Tom collapsed. Their 8-year marriage, his closest friendship, the baby he thought he was going to father, everything was a lie. Last month, Mark and I prepared the baby room together, Tom said quietly. He told me which crib was better. He was choosing a crib for his own child. Tom, it wasn't that easy. Mark struggled too. Mark struggled? Tom jumped up. I was excited to be a father for 8 months. Mark struggled. You're both important to me. No, Sarah, you made your choice. You chose Mark. Tom went outside. He got in his car and drove straight to Mark's house. Mark's car was at home. Tom knocked on the door. Mark was surprised when he opened it. Tom, what happened? You look very pale. Tom looked at Mark, the man he'd known for 15 years, the man they grew up together. Now he looked completely like a stranger. Why? Tom asked. Mark was confused. Why what? Why did you betray me? Mark's face changed. He tried to close the door, but Tom pushed him. Sarah told me, Tom said. She told me everything. Mark backed away. Tom, I can explain. 18 months, Mark. You cheated with my wife for 18 months. Tom, calm down. Should I calm down? You're my best friend. You're the man I saw as a brother. Mark went to the living room. Tom followed. Tom, I didn't want it to be like this, but it happened, and you continued. I love Sarah. Tom stared at Mark. You love her? Yes, very much. What happened 18 months ago? How did it start? Mark sat down. You were away from home for a very long time. Sarah was very lonely. I was trying to help her as a friend. And you slept with my wife. At first, we were just talking, but then we both fell in love with each other. Tom's head was spinning. You fell in love with my wife, and she fell in love with you. Tom, I didn't plan this, but you did it. For 18 months, every time you came, when we watched games together, when we had barbecues, were you with my wife? Mark bowed his head. Yes, and I didn't notice anything. We were very careful. Tom laughed bitterly. Were you careful? Were you careful while cheating on me? Tom, I owe you a lot. You're my best friend. I'm not your best friend. If I were your friend, you wouldn't steal my wife. Mark stood up. I didn't steal, Tom. Sarah made her own choice. Sarah's choice? What about your choice? Mark thought. I want Sarah. And the baby? The baby is mine. I want to be his father. Tom leaned against the wall. This baby was going to be mine. I watched him grow in the womb. I talked to him. I went to doctor visits. Tom, I'm so sorry. Sorry? Mark, you ruined my life. I didn't want to hurt you, but you did. My closest friend and my wife cheated on me. Mark approached. Tom, maybe we can still be friends. Tom couldn't believe Mark. Friends? Are you serious? For the child. This child is also you loved him for 8 months too. That child is not mine. You stole him. You stole Sarah. You stole my life. Tom left the house and got in his car. He didn't know where to go. He couldn't bear to go back to Sarah. He didn't want to see Mark's face again. He went to his brother Mike's house. Tom, what happened? You look terrible. Tom told Mike everything. Mike was shocked. This is unbelievable. I was gray. Did Mark really do this? He's been doing it for 18 months, and the baby is his. Mike sat in the chair. When Sarah said she was pregnant, I was so happy. I was going to be an uncle for the first time. The baby is Mark's. You're still not going to be an uncle. Tom, this is a huge betrayal. What are you going to do? I don't know, Mike. I don't know. That night, Tom stayed at Mike's house. He couldn't sleep. He thought about Sarah, Mark, the baby. For 8 months, he had been excited about becoming a father. He had prepared the baby room. He had made name lists. He had made plans for after birth. It was all a lie. The next morning, Sarah called. Tom, where are you? I was very worried. I'm at Mike's. Are you coming home? Tom thought. I don't know, Sarah. Tom, we need to talk. What are we going to talk about? You chose Mark. I understand. Tom, it's not that simple. Isn't it simple? You've been cheating on me for 18 months. You got pregnant, but the child isn't mine. Isn't this simple? Tom, please come home. Let's talk face to face. Tom hesitated, but agreed. When he came home, Sarah was sitting in the living room. Her tears had dried, but her eyes were still red. Tom, sit down. Let's talk. Tom sat across from her, but didn't look at Sarah. Tom, I understand how difficult this situation is. Do you really understand? I was happy about becoming a father for 8 months. You and Mark knew this, but didn't tell me, because we didn't want to hurt you. Didn't you want to hurt me? Wasn't cheating on me hurtful? Sarah was silent. Sarah, you said you loved Mark. Did you ever love me? I loved you, Tom. I still do. But you love Mark more. Sarah bowed her head. Yes. When did you realize? When did you understand you loved him more? 6 months ago. 6 months ago. Tom stood up. You've known for 6 months and didn't tell me. Because you were very happy. You were very excited about becoming a father. Because I thought it was my child. Tom, this baby could be yours too. No, Sarah, this baby is Mark's. You said so. Sarah started crying. Tom, I was very confused. I'm still confused. What are you confused about? You love Mark. He loves you too. He's the father of the baby. Go be with him. But I love you too. No, you don't. If you loved me, you wouldn't cheat on me. Sarah stood up. Tom, maybe we can solve this situation. How do we solve it, Sarah? You're pregnant. The baby is from another man. That man is my best friend. How is this solved? I don't know, but I know. You're going to marry Mark, and I'm going to file for divorce. Sarah was surprised. Divorce? There's no other choice, Sarah. You love someone else. You're pregnant by someone else. Tom, let's not rush. You didn't rush for 18 months. Now I'm rushing. Tom went to the bedroom and started packing a suitcase. Sarah followed him. Tom, where are you going? I'm leaving the house. This house is no longer mine. But this is our house. Tom turned to Sarah. Sarah, when I think of you being with Mark here, I feel sick. I can't stay here. Tom, Mark doesn't come here. Where did you meet then? Sarah was silent. Where, Sarah? At his house? In the car? At a hotel? At his house. Tom shook his head. At Mark's house. You were with my best friend at my best friend's house. Tom finished his suitcase. I'm leaving. Tom, wait. Think about the baby. Which baby, Sarah? Mark's baby? This baby was your baby for 8 months. You talked to him, sang to him. Tom stopped. Sarah was right. For 8 months, he had loved this baby. But now, this baby is not mine, Sarah. You said so. But you loved him. I loved him because I thought he was your baby. But he's Mark's baby. Tom walked to the door. Tom, maybe one day. Maybe what, Sarah? Maybe we can be friends again. Tom laughed bitterly. Friends? You cheated on me with my best friend. Mark was the man I saw as a brother. Neither you nor he is my friend anymore. Tom left the house. The following weeks were very difficult for Tom. He met with a lawyer, started divorce proceedings. He waited for the DNA test result, even though Sarah confessed it was necessary for the legal process. Mark called him several times, but Tom didn't answer. Sarah also called, but Tom didn't want to talk to her either. The DNA test result came. The baby was really Mark's. 99.9% certainty. Tom looked at the paper in his hand. Officially, he was no longer going to be a father. 2 weeks later, the baby was born. Sarah called Tom. Tom, the baby was born. Tom's heart tightened. How is he? Healthy. Boy, 3.2 kilos. Tom was silent. Tom, do you want to see him? Tom thought. For 8 months, he had been waiting for this baby. But he was Mark's baby. No, Sarah, he's not my baby. But you loved him. I thought he was your baby. Now I know he's Mark's baby. Sarah was crying. Tom, he's very beautiful. He looks like you. He doesn't look like me, Sarah. He's Mark's son. Tom hung up the phone. That evening, Mike came. Tom, did you hear about the baby? I heard. How do you feel? Tom thought for a long time. I feel empty, Mike. For 8 months, I prepared to be a father. Now I have nothing. Tom, you're a young man. You'll find someone else. Have your real child. Mike, I love this child. When he was in Sarah's womb, I talked to him. I sang to him. He was like my child. But he's Mark's child. I know. That's why it's so painful. 1 month later, Mark called Tom. Tom, can we talk? We have nothing to talk about, Mark. Tom, please, I want to apologize. Apologize? Mark, you ruined my life. I know, and I'm very sorry. Are you sorry? Are you sorry for being with Sarah or for getting caught? Mark hesitated. I love Sarah, but I didn't want to hurt you. But you did. You ruined our 15-year friendship. Tom, maybe one day you'll forgive me. No, Mark, I'll never forgive you. You were like my brother. I counted you as family. I love you too, Tom. No, you don't. If you loved me, you wouldn't cheat on me. Tom hung up the phone. 3 months later, Tom heard that Sarah and Mark had gotten married. They'd become a happy family with their baby. Tom moved in with Mike. He found a new job. He was trying to rebuild his life, but it wasn't easy. 8 years of marriage, 15 years of friendship, the dream of becoming a father. Everything was gone. 6 months later, Tom started going to a psychologist. Tom, what do you feel? Asked Dr. Anderson. I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm empty, I feel betrayed. This is normal. You experienced a very big betrayal. For 8 months, I was excited about becoming a father. I prepared the baby room, I made name lists, then I learned that even that wasn't mine. This must be very difficult. The hardest part is that Mark was my 15-year friend. He was like my brother. How do you feel about them now? Nothing. They don't exist for me anymore. 1 year later, Tom was starting to heal. He had made new friends, found new hobbies. His work life was also good. One day he saw Sarah at the supermarket. There was a baby carriage next to her. The baby was now 1 year old. Sarah hesitated when she saw Tom. Tom? Tom looked at Sarah. She looked happier. Hello, Sarah. How are you? I'm fine. How are you? I'm fine too. Mark and we got married. I heard. Congratulations. Sarah showed the baby carriage. This is our son, David. Tom looked at the baby. He was really very beautiful. And he really looked like Tom, but he also looked like Mark. Very beautiful, Tom. Tom, did you ever want to see him? Tom thought, no, Sarah, he's Mark's son. I have nothing to do with him. But you loved him for 8 months. I thought he was your son. Now I know he's Mark's son. Sarah looked sad. Tom, I still think about you. Sarah, you're a married woman, Mark's wife. I know, but nothing. You made your choice. You chose Mark. Tom continued his shopping. He left Sarah behind. When he got home, the phone was ringing. It was Mark. Tom, I heard you talk to Sarah. So, does Sarah tell you everything? Tom, I want to talk to you. We have nothing to talk about, Mark. About David, about my son. He's not my son, Mark. He's your son. But you loved him. Yes, I loved him because I thought he was Sarah's son. Now I know he's your son. Tom, maybe you can be in his life too. Tom was surprised. What did you say? Like an uncle. You could be his uncle. Tom laughed. Uncle? Mark, are you serious? David is like your son too. You loved him for 8 months. No, I'm not, Tom shouted. He's your son. You cheated with my wife. You had that child. Now you can't come and tell me to be his uncle. Tom, the child is innocent. The child is innocent, but you and Sarah are not innocent. Tom hung up the phone. 2 years later, Tom met a woman named Emma. Emma was also divorced and understood him. I was also cheated on, Emma had said. My husband was with his secretary. So, how did you feel? Tom had asked. It was very bad at first, but then I realized he wasn't the right person for me. Tom had told Emma about his life. Emma was very surprised. This must be very difficult, both your wife and your best friend. The hardest part was the baby. For 8 months, I was excited about becoming a father. How is the child now? I don't know. I don't want to see them. Emma had taken Tom's hand. Maybe one day you'll become a real father too. 1 year later, Tom and Emma got married. Mark and Sarah weren't at their wedding, of course. Tom had new friends, a new life. 6 months later, Emma got pregnant. This time, Tom was really going to be a father. How do you feel? Emma had asked. I'm scared, Tom had said honestly. Why? Because the last time I was happy about becoming a father, the child wasn't mine. Emma had hugged Tom. This time it's different. This time it's real. 9 months later, Tom's son was born. Ethan, his real son. When Tom first held Ethan in his arms, he cried. He's my son, he said to Emma. Really my son. Yes, Emma said, really your son. Tom thought he loved Sarah's baby. But when he saw Ethan, he understood that real fatherly love was different. His love for Sarah's baby wasn't fake, but this was different, because Ethan was really from his blood. 5 years later, Tom was living a happy marriage. Ethan was 4 years old and a very smart child. He and Emma were planning their second child. One day, when they went to the park with Emma, they saw Sarah. David was with her. He was now 6 years old. Mark was also with them. Sarah hesitated when she saw Tom. Mark was very uncomfortable. David noticed Ethan. Mom, that child looks like me. Sarah looked at Tom, then at Ethan. The two children really looked alike. Both carried Tom's features. Mark spoke uncomfortably. Sarah, let's go. But David curiously approached Ethan. Hello, what's your name? Ethan replied shyly. Ethan. I'm David. How old are you? 4. David thought, I'm 6 years old. You could be my little brother. Sarah's face went pale. Mark tried to pull David. David, let's go. But Tom spoke, no, Mark, the child is innocent. Tom looked at David. He was really a very beautiful child. He looked like Tom's eyes. Hello, David. I'm Uncle Tom. David smiled. Uncle Tom? Are you my uncle? Sarah intervened. David, we should. But Tom continued, yes, I'm like your distant uncle. Emma didn't understand what Tom was doing, but watched silently. Mark was very tense. Tom, we need to go. Why, Mark? The children are meeting. David got excited. Ethan, come play with me. The two children ran to the playground together. Tom, Sarah, and Mark watched them. How are you, Tom? Sarah asked quietly. I'm fine. How are you? Fine. Mark and I are happy. Tom held Emma's hand. This is Emma, my wife. Emma, this is Sarah and Mark. Emma greeted politely. She knew how complicated the situation was. Mark didn't speak, just nodded. Tom, Sarah said, Ethan is very beautiful. You really became a father. Yes, really. There seems to be a connection between him and David. Tom looked at the children. Both were laughing, playing together. Interesting, Tom said. They both look like the same person. Mark was uncomfortably shifting on his feet. Tom, Sarah said, David sometimes asks about you. Tom was surprised. He asks about me? Yes. I told him there was someone who loved him very much when he was a baby. He's curious. Mark looked at Sarah sternly. Sarah, we shouldn't discuss this. Why shouldn't we discuss it, Mark? Tom was important in David's life, Tom thought. I wasn't important in his life, Sarah. I was just the man who was cheated on. But you loved him. I thought he was your son. Emma intervened. Maybe the children can be friends. They both loved each other. Sarah looked hopefully. Is this possible? Mark spoke harshly. No, this is too complicated. Tom looked at Mark. What do you think, Mark? Are you afraid of the children being friends? I'm just trying to protect David. Protect from whom? From me? Mark was silent. Tom continued. Mark, I won't harm David. He's an innocent child. I know, but you're afraid of me because you see that David looks like me. Sarah intervened. Maybe this isn't a coincidence. What do you mean? Emma asked. David looks very much like Tom, and so does Ethan, as if they were brothers. Mark became very uncomfortable. Sarah, please. Tom understood. You suspect that David is my father. No, Sarah said quickly. I mean, I don't know. A DNA test was done. But you still have doubts. Sarah bowed her head. I was with both of you for 18 months. I might have confused the dates. Mark got angry. Sarah, David is my son. Of course he's your son, Mark, Tom said calmly. The DNA test proved that. But deep down, Tom was also curious. David really looked very much like him. That evening, Tom told Emma his thoughts. Verunga, what do you think? Emma asked. I don't know. A DNA test was done. The results showed he was Mark's son. But do you have doubts? Tom thought. After 6 years, it doesn't matter anymore, Emma. David is growing up as Mark's son. Mark is his father. But what if he's really your son? Then it's very sad, because I lost him. Emma took Tom's hand. Tom, if you want, we can have another test done. No, Emma. I don't want this much complication. David is happy. Mark and Sarah are happy. We're happy too. Are you sure? Yes, some things shouldn't be learned. But Tom thought about David at night. That child really looked very much like him. 2 weeks later, Sarah called Tom. Tom, can I talk to you? Sure, about what? About David. He's asking about you. Tom was surprised. He's asking about me? Yes. He's asking, when is Uncle Tom coming? He's been talking about it since he met you. What do you tell him? I don't know what to say. Mark is very angry. Sarah, this is very complicated. I know, but Tom, David is very attached to you. Tom thought, Sarah, I don't want to harm David. You won't harm him. On the contrary, he loves you. What does Mark say? Mark is jealous. Jealous why? Because David constantly talks about you. He asks about you more than Mark. Tom understood how complicated this situation was. Sarah, I'm not trying to take Mark's place. I know, but David's interest in you is very strong. So what do you want me to do? Maybe you can spend time with David if Emma wants to. Tom wants Emma. Emma thought and agreed. But what will Mark say? Tom asked. I'll convince Mark, Sarah said. Convincing Mark wasn't easy, but finally he agreed for David's happiness. The first meeting was at the park. David was very excited. Uncle Tom, you came. Tom hugged David. The child was very warm. Did Ethan come too? Yes, he's playing over there. David and Ethan played together. Tom watched them. The two children were really like brothers. Uncle Tom, David said, are you my real uncle? Tom didn't know what to say. I'm your mother's friend, but are you like a father? Tom's heart tightened. Your father is Mark, David. I know, but you're like a father too. Tom didn't know how to deal with this situation. In the following weeks, Tom began to spend time with David regularly. David had become very attached to him. One day, David asked Tom, Uncle Tom, can you be my father? Tom was shocked. David, your father is Mark. But can I make you my father? Tom started crying. David, I love you very much, but Mark is your father. But I want to have two fathers. Tom hugged David. Sweetie, that's not possible. But David insisted. Does Ethan have two fathers too? No, Ethan has only one father, me. David thought, then Ethan is lucky. Tom understood how complicated the situation was for David. That evening he called Sarah. Sarah, David wants me to be his father. Sarah was silent. How are we going to deal with this situation? I don't know, Tom. David is very attached to you. But this makes Mark uncomfortable. Mark is jealous. David wants you more than Mark. Something occurred to Tom. Sarah, was that DNA test really correct? Sarah remained silent for a long time. Sarah? Tom, I have to confess something. Tom's heart started beating fast. What? That DNA test? I gave Mark's hair, not your hair. Tom froze. What did you say? I wanted Mark to be the father, so I... Did you manipulate the test? Tom, please calm down. Sarah, you've been making me live in a lie for 6 years. I was scared. Is David my son? Sarah started crying. I don't know. He could be. Tom hung up the phone and ran to Emma. Emma, David could be my son. Emma was surprised. What? How? Tom told about his conversation with Sarah. So a real DNA test was never done? No, Sarah manipulated the test. Emma thought, then we should have a real test done. But how? Mark will never agree. We can take it from David's hair? Tom thought, this was a very big decision. Emma, what if David is really my son? Then we'll get him back. But this will destroy David. He thinks Mark is his father. But you're his real father. Tom was undecided. On one hand, he wanted his son. On the other hand, he didn't want to hurt David. Finally, he decided he would learn the truth. He secretly took a sample from David's hair and had a real DNA test done. The result came 1 week later. Tom's hands were shaking as he opened the envelope. 99.7% probability, Tom was David's biological father. Tom sat on the floor. David was really his son. For 6 years, someone else had been raising his son. Emma hugged Tom when she saw the result. Congratulations, you're really his father. But Tom wasn't happy. He was very confused. What am I going to do now, Emma? How am I going to tell David? First, you should tell Sarah and Mark. Tom called Sarah. Sarah, we need to talk right now. Tom, what's in your voice? The DNA test result came, the real test. Sarah fell silent. David is my son, Sarah. Sarah started crying. Tom, you've known for 6 years, haven't you? I suspected, and you didn't tell me, because David was happy. Mark loves him, but I'm his real father. Tom had an emergency meeting with Sarah and Mark. Emma was also with him. The DNA test result is clear, Tom said. David is my son. Mark was shocked. This is impossible. Here's the report. 99.7% certainty. Mark read the report. His face turned pale. I've been raising him for 6 years. I'm his father. No, Mark, you've been fathering him, but I'm his real father. Sarah was crying. What will happen in this situation? Tom thought, I want custody of my son. Mark jumped up. No, David is my son. I raised him. You stole him, Mark? First you stole my wife, then you stole my son. I didn't steal. Sarah and I were in love. Tom got angry, and I couldn't see my son for 6 years. Emma intervened. Maybe there can be joint custody. Mark spoke harshly. No, David will be confused. Tom looked at Mark. David is already confused. He's constantly asking about me. Sarah spoke. Maybe we should tell David the truth. Mark panicked. No, he thinks I'm his father. But Tom is his real father, Emma said. The meeting ended without finding a solution. Everyone was undecided. That night, Tom couldn't sleep. He had missed his son for 6 years, but now taking him back could hurt David. The next day when they met with David, Tom decided to tell him the truth. David, I want to tell you something. What, Uncle Tom? Tom took a deep breath. I'm your real father. David was confused, but Mark is my father. Mark has been fathering you, but I'm the father who created you. David thought, so you're my real father? Yes. David got excited. This is great. Now I have 2 fathers. Tom smiled. Yes, sweetheart, you have 2 fathers. Is Ethan my brother? Yes, he's your brother. David was very happy. Now I'm a big brother. Tom hugged David. Yes, you're a big brother. But Mark didn't accept this situation. He went to court. The court process lasted 1 year. Finally, the judge decided on joint custody. David would stay with Tom 3 days a week, 4 days with Mark. David got used to this situation. He had 2 fathers and 2 homes. I'm very lucky, he would tell his friends. I have 2 fathers. Tom finally had his son. It was late, but they were reunited. Emma also loved David and treated him like a mother. Mark struggled, but eventually accepted it. David's happiness was important. Sarah was the one who struggled the most, because she was living the consequences of her lie. But in the end, David won. He was now a very loved child with 2 fathers, and Tom also finally learned what real fatherhood was like, because a real father is not the one who creates the child, but the one who loves him. And David had 2 fathers. Maybe this was the most beautiful outcome.